Welcome back. You're watching Business Morning on Channels Television. Right now on the program, we're talking about stopping substandard products being imported or exported from the country. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, in the third quarter of 2015, total value of Nigeria's merchandise was 4.02 trillion naira, and there was a 12.1% drop in export, and we had that about 320.6 billion naira. So we have that coming in at 2.33 trillion naira for the third quarter of 2015. But for the value of imports, we had that at 1.688 trillion naira at the end of the third quarter of 2015, showing a decrease of about 1%. That's 1.70, about 17 billion naira or so off. Now, according to the National Bureau of Statistics, the country that Nigeria imported goods mostly from were China, the United States, Belgium, Netherlands, and India, which accounted respectively for about 459.4 billion. That's for China. For the United States, about 160.6 billion. For Belgium, 128.3 billion. And Netherlands, we had 101.8 billion. Now, very recently, the president returned back from China. And one of the things that were discussed was improving trade relations between both countries. But we've been talking to some businesses, and most businesses have talked about how beneficial this is going to be for them. But what role does the Standards Organization of Nigeria play in ensuring that this is a successful transaction between both countries, that is Nigeria and China? Joining me to talk about this now is the Acting Director General, Standards Organization of Nigeria, Paul Angia. He joins us from our Abuja studios. So good morning to you. Well, thank you so much for joining me on the program. Taking a look at the data from the National Bureau of Statistics, we see that merchandise for the third quarter of 2015 has been at, was a little low, but we saw more drops in exports than in imports. Talk to us a little bit about the markets. What's the market looking like in terms of export and imports?
You know that over the past few years, manufacturing in Nigeria has been on the decline, and export and import trade is based on comparative advantage. When the products that are coming in from Nigeria are cheaper than those that are made in Nigeria, you're bound to have more inflow of imports than exports. We have comparative advantage in the areas of raw materials, agro-allied products, probably textiles and leather, mostly leather. And this is where you look at exports from Nigeria. Of course, we've had issues with our exports in terms of quality and standards of our products that are going out, packaging, but the Standards Organization of Nigeria, with the effective support of the Ministry of Trade and Investment, it's been growing capacity for our local producers in the products where we have comparative advantage. And so it's our intention to continue to build capacity to improve on our agro-allied products, and so that our trade balances with not only China but the West will improve in areas where we have comparative advantage. It will, for a long time, we won't be able to reduce the influence of advanced countries that advantage over us, especially with regard to manufactured products.
Well, Dr. Angia, talk to us a little bit about this news about SON wanting to sign an MOU with regards importation, and still going to refer to the National Bureau of Statistics third quarter 2015 trade report, where we see that Asia, we consume a lot of goods, largely from Asia, so we have imports valued at about 764.5 billion naira. So talk to us a little bit more about this MOU. Is this going to further increase the number of imports from China, or is it going to be more exports to China?
Our concern, the Standards Organization of Nigeria, has to do with as a quality of that are flowing with so much to do with the volume that is coming, to do with the quality of what's coming in and the quality of what is going out. And that is the main thrust of the draft MOU, which we've been negotiating with the Chinese for quite a number of years now. And the intention of that MOU is to ensure that products that are coming to Nigeria from China or from Asia, those products are meet with Nigerian industrial standards. Of course, we're not a stranger to the prevalence of substandard products in Nigeria. And what you may not know is that 99% of these products are imported. And out of that 99%, over 95% of those products with which we have issues in terms of quality coming from Asia. And so the trust of that MOU to get the Chinese authority to stem the flow of such products from their side into Nigeria. And of course, there are ancillary issues where we also have to do our own part on the Nigerian side of the border to ensure that our people don't go to China and bring substandard products, deliberately step down products that will make on due profits. That is the trust of the MOU. Process, of course, if we're able to of substandard products into Nigeria, the inflow cheap and unworthy in Nigeria, it will create an environment where manufacturing can grow in Nigeria, where employment can be generated. And when Nigeria begins to produce more, because the